What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here for the Postmortem. Tottenham 0, Bournemouth 1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. Thomas Frank's first loss as Tottenham manager. Spurs' first loss of the season. And it was really poor, guys. It was actually shockingly bad yesterday. And I think in hindsight, you can look at, Frank getting the selection wrong. In my opinion, needed some ball players in the middle of the park. Did you feel that, like, before kickoff, or was it just like a hindsight thing?
Obviously we did the predicted lineup, and it's what we predicted the midfield would be. I think in hindsight, obviously, hindsight's 2020 and all that, but I think I thought Frank maybe thought it was going to be a bit more of a transitional game. Bournemouth were going to leave a bit more space and go for us a bit more. Obviously they went for us, but they were quite smarter. They gave us a bit more possession than maybe we thought. We had a lot more possession. I think we had nearly 65% or something of possession on the day. Bournemouth, what they did was they pressed quite high, but they didn't push their defensive line really high. They kind of held it back. So what it meant was when we got the passes into Richarlison and Johnson and these players, there actually wasn't that much space in behind to play in. And then once we got the ball into these players, they jumped and they were very aggressive. It was very hard for us. I think the team I don't think he took us by surprise, but we couldn't deal with what Bournemouth were chucking us. They were so aggressive, very, very clever. Iraola, top manager, he gets Bournemouth set up in such a great way. And they had basically their foot on our necks throughout the whole game. The only thing for them is they didn't get that second goal and it left the game open. And going into that last 10 minutes, maybe we could have got something, but we never looked like scoring for the whole game, to be honest. And yeah, I think in hindsight, a bit more quality. In theory, you get Bergvall in there, you get when Simmons comes back, you get him in there. There's a lot more technical quality in that middle. So I think we do have the in-house kind of solutions to a lot of the problems that were posed yesterday. But yesterday was a very hard watch, wasn't it? Very hard watch. No, it
was. And, you get to half-time yesterday in the game, 1-0 down, and you're thinking, all right, that's a bit of a result, because it could have been 3-4. The way that they just completely dominated us in every aspect of the game. Vicario was making brilliant saves throughout the game. He kept us in it at times. Van der Ven, he was unbelievable throughout the game. But them two were pretty much the only ones that I think stood up for the team. But in every aspect, physically, technically, in every aspect, they were, causing us so many problems. Chance after chance down that left-hand side for them with Semenyo. I thought he just took Porro to the cleaners yesterday. And I was sitting there at half-time. I was like, you know what? I'm quite happy it's only 1-0 because of that. And I was thinking, Frank's going to get him in at half-time. He's going to make a few tactical tweaks, and I think we'll be much better in the second half. And 1-0 is a kind of deficit that we can overturn. But then again, no changes at half-time, and it was kind of more of the same. Frank did make changes quite early, I think 50th minute.
I think he'd seen enough after 5 minutes.
Just after the 50th minute. And nothing really got better up until the final 10 minutes. But even then, there was still time for us to get that goal back. But yeah, like you say, it was just I never felt for one moment that Spurs were going to score. Brennan out on the left-hand side was, his anonymous best as usual. In terms of if he doesn't score, what is he doing? And I think that was another case of it yesterday.
Funny thing is, I actually didn't think he was anonymous. I just think he was awful. He was actually getting quite a bit of the ball, but he was terrible with it. He was overplaying passes. He was playing blind passes. That was at one moment Spence went on the overlap and he just played it straight out for a goal kick. He had chances to whip crosses in with little quality. With his link-up play was terrible. It was just a shocker. He just had a shocker.
Yeah, so you had him. I thought Richarlison, his kind of performance was back to kind of performances that we have seen from him where the ball comes into him, he can't make it stick, it's bouncing off him a little bit. Kudus, I was quite annoyed with Kudus because Porro was having so much trouble down that right flank trying to defend it against Semenyo, who was playing a blinder. And Kudus wasn't coming back to help him. He did such a good job at the Etihad coming back and helping Porro against the likes of Doku and who was the guy that played the first half for Man City? I can't remember off the top of my head. But Kudus did such a great job in that aspect. But he was nowhere to be seen. He got the ball a couple of times out on the right flank for us, and he was trying to force the issue a little bit, take it past the man, which he did do quite successfully. But every time it took it past the man, it was followed by an awful cross. every single time. So
on
the
his right
quality-
foot.
Yeah, the quality just wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly pre-game, because we didn't touch on it. Obviously, Simmons gets announced or unveiled to the crowd. You know, everyone was probably buzzing at that point, right? Like everyone's expecting a good performance, like a great day. Like
I'll tell you what, Sim. I'll tell you what. The sun was shining yesterday outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I told you, those are the most dangerous
These
ones.
are the days.
Those are the most dangerous ones.
Ringing in my head before the game because I'm getting people's predictions for the vlog, like Danny and Amir and a few other guys, and they're all saying 4-0, 4-1, this, that. We're going to absolutely batter them. I said 3-1. And I should have known at that point what was about to come, especially with the positivity of us kind of announcing Xavi Simons on the pitch and him, clapping to the fans and all that, which was great. Everything was great up until until the game started. That's when it all turned sour, to be honest. But we should have known because it's that aspect of it, but it was also Spurs before an international break.
Yeah,
we haven't won since. I think we haven't not lost since 2023,
which is crazy,
which is mad. And then there was also the aspect of every game, every time we beat Manchester City, we follow it on with an absolutely tragic performance and tragic result.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that. It's maybe we beat City and we always get ahead of ourselves. And if we beat City and then we always fall flat on our faces the game after. I think, what was it, under Conte, we beat City, then lost to Burnley.
Yeah.
And he was like threatening to leave after that game. It just seems to be something, like another quirk. Like we beat City every year and we always lose the next game every year. Which is a classic Tottenham. I also knew, like, it's just the way Tottenham do things. I was saying this, I remember, in the preview, like, after we beat City, after we lost out on Eze, we then, everyone's all depressed, and then, out of nowhere, we beat Man City, to everyone's surprise. And then we go and get Xavi Simons, everyone's, we play Bournemouth on the weekend. What did I say? What's the only thing I could ruin this moment is probably losing to Bournemouth. And that goes and happens. And yeah, look, it's frustrating. So going back on the game, what was so frustrating as well, or so surprising, second half, I thought he was definitely going to make changes in that half time, and he didn't. He kept it the same, and then, as you say, after 5 minutes, he'd seen enough. He's like, I'm changing this, which I don't know why he had to wait 5 minutes to change it. But nothing really improved. In fact, for the next 20 minutes, they should have put the game to bed. Bournemouth. Vicario made some wonderful saves, didn't he? Really brilliant saves to keep the score at 1-0. Especially, I was at one from Evan Nilsson, I thought was great. There was this one from Semenyo. He does his snap half volley, which he somehow gets a hand to. They are finding it so. I think that was the most surprising thing yesterday. Not necessarily how our struggles going forward, because we've seen that already this season. Even against like the likes of Burnley and stuff like that, we've seen that lack of creativity and quality has kind of led to some stodgy attacking play from us. But I think how open we were yesterday. It was so strange considering the midfield we were playing, the defence we had on the pitch. It just seemed as though we had no answer to kind of stopping their progressive passes and passing it forward directly into our defence. And they found it very easy. It was very much similar to some kind of defensive displays we saw last season at times, where kind of two passes, and they're in on our back line.
Well, I think it was very similar to some of the traits that we saw in that Bayern Munich friendly early, just before the season started. I thought João Palhinha was really poor in this game. I don't understand how you can go from the performance that he showed last week to the performance yesterday. I thought he got completely overrun in midfield. João Palhinha, he was chasing shadows for the majority of the game, and he got taken off. And I think once João Palhinha went off and Lucas Bergvall came on, it took a bit of time after that changes, but it did impact the game a bit better. I'm not saying we ever looked like scoring, but at least we were on the front foot a bit more, and we were in the ascendancy, and we pushed Bournemouth back a little bit.
Only in the last 10 minutes, really.
Yeah.
But then they came on the 50th minute.
Yeah, I was saying it took time, but those are the changes. Those are the players that actually were the ones that changed it.
Yeah, especially Bergvall. I think the difference with Bergvall and the other players was Bergvall seemed to, because Bournemouth did something similar to what we did last week at City, was they went to that man-to-man press and asked very difficult questions of us in terms of, can you beat us in one-on-one situation? Like, can you win your individual duels? And it seemed as though all our players, especially in the midfield, were playing very safety first and either losing out, didn't have the quality to beat their man, or were playing it safe, and we was really struggling to get the ball forward. Bergvall, when he came on, he was kind of the only one willing to kind of play on the half turn, trying to spin in behind his man, break into the space and open the game up a bit. And it only kind of took into effect later on in the game. In fact, he was the one who had our shot on target, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, wasn't a bad attempt, albeit wasn't like the easiest chance, but he did quite well to get the shot, if I remember. Dribbled past a couple of players and on his left foot.
That was on like the 70th minute, right? And that was our first
Something
shot on
like
target
it was
throughout the whole game. And I was like,
ridiculous.
I was looking at the stats at half time, and I was like, are you actually serious? Like, not one shot. Not even like off target, not a one from 30 yards ballooned off the top of the over the bar or anything. Not one shot.
And we couldn't even. I don't think we had a corner all game, or maybe late on we got a corner.
No corners.
No corners. We weren't able to force any sort of advantage there. Free kicks, we weren't able to even get too many of those as well. So we weren't even able to take any advantage from set pieces. Like you expect in this game, how with what we've seen from Frank. Yeah, even against these teams, there's going to be periods where we're under the cosh, obviously under the cosh for a lot of this game. But you were expecting at least a little period where we were on top. We were looking like we were going to score. We were exploiting some sort of weakness. We didn't have a single period in this game, even any sort of 5-10 minute period of sustained pressure where it looked like maybe we could score. Like we were forcing their keeper into a save or anything. Like they literally, it was pretty much very similar to our second half performance against Man City last week. They gave that to us this week pretty much for the whole game. They kept us at arm's length. They were finding it way too easy to create chances. We couldn't seem to get anywhere near their goal for the majority of the game. There was a severe lack of quality when it came from crossing from the wing. It was an absolute shit show, if we're being honest. It was one of the worst performances from a Tottenham team I've seen in a while, just in a sense of...
And we've seen some bad ones.
Yeah, but even like last season, we had a lot of bad ones, but even in our bad performances, most of them, we were creating some chances. Like, even though we were very open at the back, usually we would, have some sort of chances on the ball and look like scoring at times. Like, we just looked so disjointed. We looked completely lost, and we were very open as well, which you don't associate with how we've been under Frank in the first few games, especially in competitive games. Yeah, you can look at the Bayern game, but if you look at the competitive game so far, we haven't seen that level of disorganisation at the back. So that was probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah, look, I think it's quite evident that what we need in this team, we need attacking players. We need to be able to break the opposition down, particularly when we're the ones. I don't have a problem when we're the kind of team out of possession and we have to go and press the other team and work on the transition and hurt the other teams like that, like we saw at Man City. But we've spoken about it many a time. Ever since we've seen Spurs through pre-season under Frank, the first game against Burnley, I know we won 3-0, but there was signs of it in that game as well. But when we're asked to have possession, when we're asked to break teams down, I don't think we have the personnel to do that just yet, particularly in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and it was what I was saying after the City game. I think a few of us were saying it. Like, it's all well and good playing that midfield against City when they're going to have the majority of the possession. They're going to leave all the space for you. But I specifically said it's literally these kind of games, Bournemouth, Fulham, these middle of the road teams who are smart, who can defend well, and they're going to ask you to come onto them, and they're going to be able to defend, and they're going to have the tools to hurt you as well because they got the quality like Semenyo, who was fantastic yesterday. Evan Nilsson, great striker. Their midfield surprised me a lot. Like, Scott was fantastic. I know he's a good player, but I think he's really getting used to the Premier League now after what I saw yesterday. He was phenomenal, I thought. Yeah. Tyler Adams, strong midfielder. They've got these Bournemouth, they're smart recruitment. They've got good players. So these are the teams where having Paulinho, Sarr and Bentancur together, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough in these games because they're just going to be too smart for you. They're going to be able to match you in certain areas, and then they're going to be able to exploit the space you leave if they give you the possession. And I felt like we failed miserably yesterday to adapt to that. And that's one thing. Like, Frank, obviously, he's a very adaptable manager, and he just wasn't able to do it yesterday. He couldn't adapt to the situation. We weren't able to find any solutions, which is what Frank is known for. Yeah. So that was disappointing. But look, it is one game, and it's very early on in his tenure, so there's no need to panic. But it's just I guess the only concerning thing is how thoroughly we were outplayed. Like, it wasn't even a contest really. The 1-0 massively flattered us.
Massive. That's exactly what I said. Like,
no,
totally.
Like, it should have been 3 or 4.
if not more.
And it should have been 3 or 4-0. Like, we didn't deserve to score, and we didn't deserve to only concede 1. It should have been a much bigger scoreline.
We had a 0.19 XG yesterday.
Crazy. Like,
At home.
Crazy.
Like, that should never be happening. No matter who you're playing against at home, 0.19 is disgraceful.
Scott says can't adapt with a shit bench. Like, I understand, but like, was it that bad? Like, I'm looking at the teams and compared to Bournemouth, and is our team shouldn't be worse than Bournemouth? Like, I'm looking at the team we played.
Man for man, we had a better team.
We should have, yeah. Like, we had a good team. That was actually on paper. You could argue right now our strongest team, obviously before Siemens comes in. Like, that's the 11 probably is our strongest 11. So. Yeah. Like, it's a good team, and to be as outplayed as we were has got to be a concern. Now, what I like about Frank is he will learn lessons from these moments.
For sure.
And that's what he's done so far. Like the Bayern game, he learned a lesson from it. PSG was different, and he changed it up. So that is what I like. What was disappointing is just in these other games we've seen in game, I felt like against City and against Burnley, and even against PSG at times, like. Within the game, he was learning what was happening in the game, and he made tweaks, and those tweaks really affected the game, and he was able to find solutions. But this is what I was saying as well before, like, we haven't seen him tested in this way in terms of 1-0 down to a good solid team where they're going to ask you to break them down. Like, it's all well and good being 1-0 up against a good team and then having a structure to exploit their weaknesses when they're coming onto you, or 1-0 up against a Burnley side who are I think probably the worst in the league. Like, it's all well and good being in those positions and managing it, but it's when you're really tested like we were yesterday, 1-0 down against a solid team like Bournemouth, really good manager, good players, and they're going to ask you different questions. What are you going to do when that challenge comes? And I'm worried what he's got to offer in those situations. And yesterday showed that, but again, doesn't mean it's a long-term worry. It's just clearly that that was something I was worried about, which I'm not any less worried about after yesterday, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's teething problems in my opinion, and I think he will be able to rectify it. I think he's more than a good enough manager to look at what went wrong yesterday and hopefully able to rectify it in future games. And look, you got to say, however poor Spurs were, Bournemouth were absolutely brilliant yesterday. They played an absolute blinder. Yeah. Like, I've been worried about Bournemouth because, like, the first 2 games, I said it in the preview, they've looked really good this season. That game against Anfield, I thought they put in a sensational display, unlucky to lose the game. Coming back from 2-0 down to get level at Anfield is brilliant. And then obviously they won 1-0 against Wolves, which probably should have been more. But yeah, look, Bournemouth played it. You've got to give them so much credit yesterday.
They got a great manager. They got great recruitment. They just seem to pick themselves up, don't they? Like, they lost Hyson, they lost Kirkes, they lost Zabrani, and they had this guy Trufe at the left back. He was great. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah.
They had Diakite and Senesi. I know Senesi was actually ahead of Hyson before he got a long-term injury last season, so he's always been quite a good defender, Senesi. They got this Diakite guy who came in, who was brilliant, I thought, centre-back. Christie gets a long-term injury. They got Alex Scott coming in. They didn't have a right winger, so they played David Brooks there, and he was brilliant. Evan Nilsson's been a striker there for a while. So they've just got great recruitment. Iraola's, very good at getting the best out of them at the moment. He's really got a handle on that group of players. And what I like about them is, they lost all these players, but they don't feel sorry for themselves. They dust themselves down, get the signings in, replace them, and they look just as good so far this season. So fair play to them.
Yeah, fair play to them. But fair play to Iraola because he did a number on Frank yesterday.
Absolutely. He tactically outclassed him.
Yeah, he did. What I didn't like in the game yesterday whilst being there was the boos at half-time and at full-time. I just don't get it. Like, I know maybe a lot was born out of frustration for Simon Hooper because the referee was an absolute joke yesterday. Semenyo definitely should have got sent off. And there were just these small little decisions throughout the game that were just going against us. Not just wrong decisions consistently throughout the game. And it was just so frustrating. But, audible boos at half-time, audible boos at full-time. And I was sitting there thinking, like, this is literally our first loss of the season. Yes, I know it was nowhere near good enough, which is fair enough. And I was obviously very frustrated of the performance. But is this where we're at now? Like, just a poor performance and we just boo? Like, sure, like, from what I remember and what I understand about why you should boo your team is, like, if you're in just, like, a really bad way, or you're being run wrong, or, you know, it's just, like, you want the manager out, or, you know, these kind of things where it's, like, when it's, like, extremely bad situations at a football club, then you start booing, which is fair enough. But, yeah, it's literally our first loss of the season, where in the first 2 games we won 3-0 and went to Etihad and won. Now we've had a poor performance against Bournemouth, and the fans decide to boo at half time, at full time. Just don't get it.
We're in the manager's 3rd game in, as if he's like, they're acting like he's had a start like, I don't know, like Potter or Amorim, where he's just been looking awful, and like Tottenham are just going in the wrong direction or anything like that. That's not what I see at the moment anyway. And I wasn't there, but I think it's ridiculous that fans are deciding to boo the team, you know, so early on the season when we've played pretty well so far this season and we're getting good signings through the door. You know, we just paraded a new £50 million signing, which everyone's delighted with before the game. We've done some good business. Yes, I know we all want more, but he's done some good business so far in the transfer window. So to, I think, take your frustrations out on the team there is not right. But on the flip side, I think football is going that way. Like, just one bad performance and the team is booing because the prices are so high. And when the price is that high, it comes with expectation, and people are paying big money for these games now. You know, you see it every game. There are fans travelling from all over the world to come and watch these games. And there are fans forking out big money to take their family and whatever to one-off games. And unfortunately, when we've got the most expensive tickets, that comes with higher expectations for all the time. And whenever they see a performance like that, they're going to voice their frustration. I don't like it. I agree. But, you know, especially when it was... I feel like definitely when it's come to this stadium, there's been a lot more booing. I feel like when it was back at White Hart Lane, like, very much support for the team. Even in a performance like that you wouldn't get boos until it was like... You know, I remember... when it was like Sherwood and AVB, you would hear a lot of booing because everyone could see it was all going the wrong direction. Like we were just a complete mess. And when you're seeing those horrible performances, you know, people voice their frustration. But now, you know, you've got a new manager who's made a really promising start. We've made some big signings, and then one bad display, and all of a sudden you're booing as if like everything's terrible. Like, I think they need to get a grip. But for me, we can say all we want. I don't think it's going to stop. I think after every loss, you'll probably hear it, unless it's like a decent display where we were unlucky to lose. I think you're going to hear booing from every bad display now.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's right. I really don't think it's right. And I get what people are saying. They're saying, you know, after such a terrible performance, if you're going to get absolutely destroyed by Bournemouth on your own patch and be as, you know, poor as we were, then, you know, fans have every right to boo. But I think at this early stage, when things are, we don't even know if things are going the right direction, but things are positive around the club right now, in my opinion. And there's no need to boo. Just back the team. Just back the team and give them the support. And, you know, particularly at half time. You know what I mean? Like, at full time, I can get it a bit more. But at half time, when you've got a whole other half to play, and, like, they don't need to boo. Like, the players know it's not good enough. Mm-hmm. The manager knows it's not good enough. Like, what is
sure? Of course they know.
What is the what positive can come from booing?
So they weren't trying. I think it was one thing I would say is it was very strange yesterday that, you know, again, City were winning all those 50-50s and all those duels. And it seemed like yesterday they were the ones winning all the duels. Yeah. And why is that? I don't think it's because we weren't trying, but, you know, is it because Bournemouth just as focused on the duels as we are and they were just getting the right side of them. But, you know, you look at their midfield three, Adams, Scott and Tavernier, and, you know, in theory, you look at our three, we should be bullying them. Yeah. You know, Paulinho, Bentancur, Sarr, that's a very physical midfield three. You know, that should be the ones, we should be the ones bullying them. Yet we were consistently losing out on those duels. And I guess I can agree was a real frustration. Why was that happening consistently? And that led to a lot of turnovers and things like that. But I didn't see a team not trying yesterday. It was just I just think we lost to the better team.
Mm. I did feel like, if Manor Solomon's on the bench, why not bring him on? You know what I mean? Like, bring on all the attacking players that you have, because we just couldn't break them down, and we needed more players that can go and break down the opposition. I thought Tell was pretty poor when he came on, or he did have that kind of snapshot, which looked like it was going in for 1 second, sitting behind the goal.
Kind of came on in the 10 role, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not moved by Matisse Tell at this moment in time. I'm not sure what he really offers. Odebear, like he kind of comes on and runs at his man and looks like he is threatening, but doesn't really do much. With the Odebear, I felt like with that chance that Odebear had, if we would have kept Brennan on, maybe he would have scored that.
Yeah, he blazed over the bar. Really poor finish, wasn't it? One of our
I was
very few
looking at
chances.
Odebear, just guide that into the far corner, man. Like, why are you snapping it?
Yeah, he panicked, didn't he? He panicked. I didn't think Tell was terrible. I wouldn't say he did anything great. He had that one great volley, didn't he?
That is Matisse Tell, though, isn't it? That is Matisse Tell.
What,
like,
he had 20 minutes, 10,
yeah, but
15
this is
minutes,
like
15 minutes?
what we usually see from Matisse Tell. He's not terrible, but he's never good.
Yeah, give him an opportunity. He had 15 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and say you have to think he's good. I'm just saying, I don't know, like he wasn't worse than anyone else I saw yesterday. Like,
I don't disagree with that.
Everyone was bad.
I don't disagree with that, but we need people to come on and change a game for us. And I don't think Matisse, like, ever since joining Spurs, he hasn't really shown that.
Well, that volley was a few inches to the right, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
But yeah, I thought as well.
Good to see a doggy back, though.
A doggy, I thought he did well, actually, when he came on. I liked what I saw from him. I think he gave us better balance, actually, having Spence on the right, a doggy on the left. Yeah, it helped us quite a bit, just allowing us to sustain a bit of pressure instead of always coming back the other way. There was that one moment, though, not doggy related, but like near the end of the game, Semenyo picks up the ball like inside the Bournemouth half. He like breezes past 3 players, and like he's such a powerful runner. We just couldn't stop him. It was crazy. I think it took Odebear just about nicking the ball at the last second to stop him. And I was looking at that moment, I'm thinking, bloody hell, this guy, he's not only fast, but he's powerful, isn't he? He's such a powerful runner, Semenyo. What a player. And they've done so well to sign him up to a new contract, haven't they?
He started the season on fire. It wasn't just this game. It feels like he's got better and better. I mean, he got 2 goals at Anfield, first game of the season, got an assist second game, and he absolutely destroyed Pedro Porro. And I felt like when we took Porro off, I thought that's the moment we were going to bring in a doggy and move Spence over to the right-hand side, because that would have, like you said, it did add a bit more balance when he did it later on in the game. But maybe he should have done that maybe from the 50th minute.
Yeah, I think so. But look, terrible. Just a bad day at the office. Hopefully we can put this game behind us. Frank has those 2 weeks now. He has 2 weeks to comb over.
The international break, man. These 2 weeks where we have to just mull over this performance now. It's just so frustrating, man. So frustrating. And why does this happen to us every international break? I just don't understand it.
At what point do you have to say, do we start thinking it's not just a coincidence?
Yeah, but what's the reason? Where's the reason or the rhyme? Like, this keeps happening. Like,
are there heads on in the international break? Are they worried about getting injured for these games? I don't know. It's very strange, isn't it? It's just it must be a weird quirk. It can't be any sort of connection, surely. But it just seems to always happen. It's happened for 2 years. I don't know what it's all about, but it's the worst thing, because first of all, international break sucks anyway. But now we have to mull over a loss for 2 weeks and sit on it. And, it's very frustrating. But hopefully Frank can comb over what happened, learn from it, and hopefully he comes up with some solutions to why what happened yesterday happened.
Yeah, look, we're going to need massive solutions. We're going to need massive help in these next 24 hours now left of the transfer window. And yes, we've brought in quality and proven quality like João Palhinha, like Javi Simons, like Mohamed Kudus, but it's not enough. It's not enough at all. And we need more. We're not going to get it, though. I just can't see us. Like, there's no rumours at this moment in time, no serious links to any players. Like, we need more in the forward line. We need more in the defensive line as well. Like, what's going? Like, we're not going to bring in anyone, are we?
I don't think so. But I think we would have heard about people being closer, in my opinion. Look, you never know. Something could come out of the blue. But I think Tottenham fans expecting a big 48 hours will probably be disappointed. I think
it's not 48 hours anymore.
Whatever it is, 24 hours. I think they're going to be disappointed, to be honest. I think Simons was obviously the one we were desperate for, because we don't have a number 10 in the squad fit at the moment. That was what I was saying in a lot of the updates. I think by hook or by crook we'll get a number 10 in. That was my prediction. But when it comes to a winger and it comes to a defender, I don't think we're going to put. I'm going to be surprised if we push the belt out to get someone. I think if there's an opportunity, maybe Lookman on loan, maybe something like that, a cheap deal. I don't think we're going to be going for big deals in these last 24 hours. I really don't. I think it's going to be opportunistic. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be, if we're serious about bringing someone in, are we desperate to bring someone in? Or is it something like if something falls on our lap, we'll go for it kind of thing? You know, I still see a lot of the rumours of Semenyo flying around. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. I think people need to put that to bed. I don't think we're getting Semenyo in these last 24 hours. I think that's a pipe dream, in my opinion. Maybe we can get a cheap defender like if Akanji or Ake come available, or you know they're both on the bench today.
Yeah, we have heard Akanji has rejected the AC Milan proposal.
So that's good, and that's obviously a defensive signing, and that'll be great. But I just think if people expecting us to splash big on a winger between now and the end of the window, I don't think it's going to happen. And look, as much as I'd like it to happen, I'm not angry if we don't do it. It's just is what it is. I think we've got players there in the wing positions. We've got options, especially once
it's not good enough.
Decky comes back, and. Frank's job is to come in and make these players better, and we've got good talent there, and that's what he's got to do. That's what he's got to do. Look, when you're comparing it to a lot of our rivals, yeah, it's not the same level right now, but that's why Frank's here, to get them up there, and it's going to take time, but that's what his job is for a lot of these young players. Odebear, Tell, obviously, you know, getting high level from Johnson. Simon's now coming in, and you know, we've invested in these players, and I think unless we're getting rid of any of them, you're going to have to trust them.
It is true, because if we're going to bring in a player in the forward line, then you start looking at Odebear and Tell that one of them is going to have to miss out from the European squad. You're looking at bringing in a defender. You're looking at probably Ben Davies is going to miss out on the European squad, which obviously I got no problem with either of those. If Odebear or Tell miss out from the European squad and we bring in someone else on the wing, I'm more than happy with that. And Ben Davies as well, I'm more than happy for him to miss out if we bring in an Akanji or an Ake. And I think that's what we need to do, because I don't think the quality is there. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Like Odebear, like maybe they just haven't been given enough chances and a consistent run the team to show what they're about. But are they ever going to be given this kind of consistent run the team unless we get injuries? Like, we're always going to start probably a Brennan Johnson on the left-hand side and a Mohamed Kudus on the right. Like,
I don't think so. I think, what, you think Johnson's going to start every game?
Well, I don't think so. Maybe he's not going to start every game, but I can't see Odebear and Tell being given the consistent runs in the team.
I can definitely. I think Johnson's got to keep his place. If he keeps playing like he did yesterday, he'll be out of the team, and Odebear and Tell will get a chance.
Yeah, like we haven't seen anything from Odebear and Tell to suggest that they can keep their space.
Well, they got to get their chance. We haven't had, how much chance have they really had? Not much. And if Odebear and Tell were playing like Johnson did yesterday, you'd probably say the same about them. But although Johnson
scores,
you know
what's going to happen with Johnson? He'll come in the next game. He'll probably start on the bench. He'll come off the bench. He'll score. Start the next game, score, and then put in a stinker the game after. And we're all going to sit here being like, "Oh, Brennan Johnson's not good enough. What does he do apart from score?" And then the cycle starts again. You know what I mean? Odebear will come in for one game. Tell will come in for one game. We're saying, "Oh, these guys are not good enough. Get Johnson back. He scores." You know what I mean? It's just a revolving cycle.
I think there's too many games for that. I think they're going to get chances. They're going to get runs of games. So look, it's up to them to keep their place and play well for sure. But I think the thought of Johnson's going to keep those two players out and they're not going to get enough game time, I don't think it's going to be the case. They'll get chances and they'll get game time. And look, I think there are two good players in my opinion. I think they do have quality. They just need a bit of run to show it. And look, Odebear, since he's come, he's had bad injury problems and hasn't really had a consistent run. Tell obviously came in last year, came in a bit of a shit show with the big injuries, been playing up front a lot, all that kind of stuff. So I think there's different circumstances why both players haven't shown their best yet. I think
Tell
they need a fair crack.
His best position. That's what we heard when we signed him. Everyone was saying, Tell, don't get it twisted. Tell's best position is the number 9, and he's terrible in the number 9. And I much prefer him out on the left-hand side. And I've seen a few flashes of things he can do, but I've never seen anything to suggest that Tell is going to be the answer to our problems out on the left-hand side. I just haven't seen it. Maybe I will over the course of the season. Maybe he can prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But I just haven't seen it. I just have not seen it. And I think we're desperate for another, at least one more player in the forward line. I think we're absolutely desperate for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would like one, but I don't think we're going to get one. Look, I'm willing to give at least till January our forward options a go, what we have. If obviously it's up to me, I'd sign one, but I'm not going to start protesting if we don't get another forward in. I think we've had a good window, and I'm all right with our window at the moment.
What's your rating for the window at this moment in time?
I'll give it a 7.
7. Yeah, I'd probably say, I said last night, like a 6.5, something like that. I think, I like the calibre of player that we've brought in, but I don't think it's been enough. I think we need more. I think 2 more. If we were to bring in a defender and an attacker of the required ability from in the next 24 hours, then I'd be delighted. And I think there's no one to say that Frank hasn't been backed if we do that. But I don't think he's been properly backed as of yet. I think, we've got good players in, a few decent players in. He's been backed probably more than previous managers, but I don't think he's been fully backed as of yet. But if we bring those 2 players in, I don't think there's anyone that can say he hasn't been backed. And I think if we do bring those players in, I don't think you'll see a protest for the rest of the season because it'll all be on Frank and the players.
What's this? In the past 24 hours, Tottenham made an inquiry about Pavard on a loan deal. But Inter is not open to this formula. Well, that's great.
Great stuff.
Great.
Absolutely great stuff.
So that's the latest news. We inquired about Pavard, but they don't want to loan him out. So fantastic.
We're just going for like just going throwing offers at anyone, just seeing what sticks. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like any sort of concerted plan or effort. But we'll see. We'll see. The next 24 hours is big. It's big in my opinion. I'm not really expecting much, but I did say before I don't think we're going to get anyone in, but I think we will bring in at least one.
At least one.
Yeah, in the next 24 hours.
See, I'm looking at the squad numbers right now, and it kind of just about works currently at the moment to fit some players in that we need. And obviously, any more signings, then all of a sudden you're making difficult decisions. So I'm kind of.
This is the name of the game, though. It's like difficult decisions. You have to make difficult decisions if you're a manager.
I know, but that's what we want. But I don't know if they're going to do it unless someone unexpected is leaving.
They have to do it. Like we're so short at centre back. We are really short. We've got 3 good centre backs at the club. That's it. So how can we not sign another centre back?
Well, we've got what Frank was answered when he was asked the question is we've got 3.
Yeah, I don't believe what he was
saying.
saying.
We've got Davis, then we got Kataka, and in a couple of months we've got Dragic.
I do not believe he's happy with that. I don't believe for a second he's happy with that. Especially with the emphasis that he has on clean sheets and the emphasis that he has on defensive solidity. I don't buy for a second he's happy with that. And you wouldn't be seeing all these links to Akanji, to Ake, to Pavard if that was true as well.
There's one thing wanting an extra one, and there's one thing not being happy with what you have.
I don't think he is happy with what he's got, because if he was happy with what he's got with 24 hours left of the window, we wouldn't be going for another centre back.
Well, you can always look for better.
Yeah, but I think we want better because we need it. I think it's desperation.
Desperation?
Yeah. I think we desperately need a centre back to come in that can play at
more than a winger.
I think, me personally, I'd prefer to bring in a winger. I probably would prefer to bring in a winner because I don't believe in the wingers that we have too much. But I think in terms of the squad numbers, you'd probably say a centre-back is probably more of a pressing issue.
When it comes to, that's true. I know, I wouldn't say it's desperate. I just think it's like, we would like one. But I don't know about desperate.
It is desperate.
We've got 6.
We've got Dragic, who's not going to be fit for 2 months, and who knows?
So what happens in 2 months' time?
Who knows when he's going to be back to his best? It could be much longer than 2 months. Look how long it took Bentancur to get back to his best after his ACL. So I don't know. I think you can pretty much write off Dragic at this moment in time, for the time being. You got Ben Davis, who we all know he's been here for 11 years, and it's probably he's not of the required quality to play for us at centre back in the Premier League.
Does Frank think that?
I think so. And who else we got? Kota Takai, who barely gets ever mentioned by Thomas Frank, and I think he mentioned him for the first time.
You mentioned him
last week. So that leaves you with 3 competent centre backs.
3 competent centre backs.
Yeah, 3 good level centre backs.
Yeah, but we do have 3. You can think that I don't know if Frank thinks they're not competent.
Competent was probably the wrong word, but at a good level, at the required ability and level.
Yeah, I agree. I want one, but I don't know. I just don't think the club are desperate for one.
I think they are. And if they weren't desperate for one, I don't think that they would be, we would see all these links. We wouldn't be putting feelers out for Pavard. We wouldn't have these links from Romano to Akanji and Ake. We just wouldn't see it. I think we'd be focusing our attentions in other places.
But why haven't we gone for one before?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Like for number 10, we've been after one all window.
Yeah,
it's not been the same for the defender.
It's true. So why are we after one now then?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think it's like we're looking for a potential opportunity late in the window because if we can get a cheap deal and improve our backline or add a centre-back, it's great. But are we going to push the belt out for one?
Yeah.
Probably not because we're not desperate for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they thought Dragusin would be back earlier than first reported, or than they think now. Maybe they thought Kota Takai was going to come in and be part of the squad, and maybe now they don't think so. Maybe he's not ready. There could be many different kind of situations going on behind the scenes. We don't know.
Well, let's see. Look, I hope we get a winger and a centre-back. I would love it. And I think that would make the business we've done so much better. I'm just not hopeful.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not hopeful as well. But it has to be done. We have to do our best to get players in before the end of this window.
Will there be anger if we don't, or disappointment?
Not sure, to be honest. You have to ask me at 7 o'clock tomorrow and I'll tell you. I'm not sure if it's going to be anger or disappointment, but I think like if we don't bring anyone, like I said, a 6.5/7 out of 10 window, which is decent, but we're still leaving ourselves short, in my opinion. So it's just classic Spurs to leave yourself short, but bring in some decent players.
Yeah, you ask every probably club in the Premier League, apart from Arsenal, have they left themselves short? They'll probably all say yes, somewhere.
Maybe, but Spurs consistently do it every single year.
Yep, that's true. Depressing.
All right, well, that's the situation on the transfer window. Let's move on to player ratings. Tottenham 0, Bournemouth 1. And let's see what we've given to everyone here. First up is Vicario. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him a 7, actually, but I probably should be giving him an 8. I think 7's a bit harsh for Vicario because I do think he was of our two best players on the pitch. I thought he saved us countless amount of times. I thought maybe he could have moved the ball a bit quicker when playing out the back. But yeah, look, I thought he had a really good display.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. His passing wasn't the best, but I thought he was having a bit of a worldie, to be honest. I think some of the saves he was making was phenomenal. There was one save from Semenyo, which I thought was fantastic on the half volley. There was another save from Evan Nilsson, diving quick to his feet. He made, I think, another save late on from their substitute, what's his name, Junior, I think his name. He was just making save after save, keeping us in the game. It was literally Bournemouth against Vicario at some points, which was really baffling because for a lot of the games we've seen, Tottenham defenders and midfielders throwing their bodies on the line and defending for their lives. And in this game, we didn't see it. It seemed as though Vicario had to do a lot of the work in this one.
Yeah, 5 saves on the day. So it was definitely a good display from Vicario. I think I was a bit harsh with the 7. Pedro Porro up next. Him gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. Absolute shocker from Pedro. I think on a defensive standpoint, he got completely done time and time again by Semenyo. Was just doing him all over. It felt like Porro from when he first joined, like away at Leicester. That kind of Porro turned up yesterday. And he wasn't getting help from his teammates, which is fair enough as well, but very uncharacteristically poor on the ball as well, which I was really disappointed with.
Yeah, it was a weird one. He was awful, like uncharacteristically in a lot of aspects, just terrible throughout. It was like he was doing 2 foul throws. He did 2 foul throws during the game. Like, it was just horrendous.
It was in the space of like 10 minutes.
It was like, what was going on with him? I don't know if his head was not in the right place or whatever. But Semenyo was cooking him on the ball. He was awful. His crossing was off it as well. It was just a stinker. Like, every player has them, and he definitely had one yesterday.
Kuti Romero up next. Him gives him a 4. I gave him a 6. Not the greatest display from Kuti. I thought Mickey van der Ven kind of got him out of trouble a couple of times in the game, and I thought look, I don't know what is Romero. Like, some days he puts in an absolute worldie, and then the next day he just, he's not. This is like, the mentality about Ribeiro, some games just seem incredible, and then the next game they just don't seem at the races. And I think this was another one of those kind of lethargic performances from Cuti Romero. As the game wore on, he was getting progressively higher and higher. By the end of it, he was like a striker. But it just wasn't a great display from him.
Yeah, and I thought Evan Nilsson was getting in behind him way too easily. It was quite strange for me what kind of his lack of ability to deal with him. Yeah. And the goal, he wasn't getting close enough to Evan Nilsson. He allowed him too much space to get the shot off, and that happened a few times. They were getting those passes beyond him, and he had to be bailed out. I don't think it was like a shocker, but yeah, by his standards, especially how he's been this season, was not good enough.
Next up is Mickey van der Ven. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. I thought he was our best outfield player on the day by far. Some of the challenges that he was putting in, the interceptions, he was driving forward up the pitch as well. I think in every aspect he was really good, to be honest.
Yeah, there was that one moment as well, as you say, like stride past like 3 players striding on the pitch. That was like the Van der Ven we saw from last season. It was absolutely phenomenal. And I thought a few times he had to save us with some acceleration, preventing him from getting in behind. We did see quite a few of those recovery runs from Mickey, which we hadn't seen too many of so far this season. We definitely saw a few yesterday. I completely agree. By far our best outfield player, and he was the only one really maintaining really high standards.
Yeah. Next up should be Jed Spence. What have we given for Jed Spence? Yeah, Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. Again, like a bit uncharacteristically poor defensive-wise. Although I do think the majority of Bournemouth's play did come down the other side. But yeah, I just don't think he could link up with Brennan Johnson at all. Yeah, there was just nothing in there from Jed Spence, to be honest.
I thought Brooks also gave him a bit of a tough ride, which is surprising. You would have thought someone like David Brooks, he should be able to deal with him, but I actually thought Brooks played quite well, and he was getting quite a lot of joy there. Not in terms of like, he didn't like beat him like dribbling, but he was just creating separation, getting crosses in, and Spence didn't really stop him from creating things. I thought his a lot of the time we built up from his side, and he struggled to really progress the ball. Link up with Brendan was non-existent. A lot of that was to do with Brendan himself, but I don't think Spence was particularly great as well. So poor from Spence, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was the man, if I'm correct, that played
Evan Nilsson onside. Yeah, right. Yeah, very poor as well from the goal.
Yeah. João Palhinha up next. Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 4. Really poor performance from João Palhinha. I mean, last week he put in a perfect display. This week it was back to those kind of traits that we saw in the pre-season against Bayern Munich. Completely overrun, looked a yard off the pace, maybe 2 yards off the pace, chasing shadows throughout the whole game. Really poor. Yeah,
a bit of a stinker, I think, from João. Unfortunately, on the ball, wasn't good at all. Off the ball, didn't win the duels he was winning last week. He was losing out to Tyler Adams, and it wasn't pretty. I think, and on the ball as well, you need to, against this Bournemouth side, be getting the ball quick and direct, and he was playing it safe a lot and playing it out wide, and it's not great effect as well. So poor display from João. And these are the games that you worry about him in these games. Not to say he's like a liability, but like when we brought him in to play the 6. It was these games that you're thinking, is he going to be the guy to like dictate the game? And he wasn't.
Rodrigo Bentancur up next. 4s all round for him. And yeah, another one that had a really poor display. And, for Bentancur in this game, I thought, first of all, physically overrun by the Bournemouth midfield, and he was a part of that. But in terms of the way, like, he needs to be driving up the pitch and showing some sort of creative passing. I know it's not his key strength, but when you've got that kind of midfield, he needs to show it, and he didn't. I thought it was poor from him to try and progress the ball up the pitch, and it was just sideways and backwards passing if he wasn't losing it.
Yeah, I think he was a tiny bit better than Palhinha and Sarr, but still nothing particularly to shout home about. Disappointing. Another poor display. Another poor display in midfield from this team, not from Bentancur himself. But I think he last week he really was dominating in that middle, and this week he got dominated, and he'll be really disappointed with that.
Pap gets a 3 from Sib and a 4 from me. I mean, look, he did a lot of running, but to no avail because there was little quality in the work that he was doing on the ball. And if you're going to be the most advanced midfielder, you got to have some sort of guile and have some sort of ability to create some chances, and that was pretty much non-existent in the game.
Yeah, the job he was doing last week, playing kind of that number 10, kind of getting forward, pressing, winning flick-ons, holding the ball up, that kind of stuff, didn't do it at all in this game. I think he was a non-factor going forward, really. And pressing also, we didn't touch on that on the match review, but the pressing was just not good as well. Weren't able to get near them for a lot of the game. So, yeah, disappointing. And I think his pressing wasn't as good as it has been.
Mohamed Kudus up next, definitely his poorest showing in the Spurs shirt so far. Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 5. There were a number of occasions where he was able to beat his man down that side, but every time he did, it was just a poor cross into the box, and it lacked the quality to create a chance for us. And, I thought he should have done a lot better job trying to drop deep and help out Porro, defend against Semenyo, and he was nowhere to be seen from that aspect. I guess he was in the forward line, he was one of the only ones that was trying to make something happen, even though it was out of poor quality. But, yeah, he needs to be doing a lot better. Agreed.
I agree. He was one of the only ones who tried to make something happen, but he was also very frustrating. This is probably one of the performances West Ham fans probably warning us about, because he was hugely frustrating. There were some moments where he does so well. He receives the ball, opens the game up, and is like, okay, make a quick pass, do something. But he hangs onto the ball way too long, and he ends up losing it or making a wrong decision. And we saw that quite a bit yesterday. And also, it felt like in the latter stages, he did some good stuff, like getting the ball, going down the line. And the difference between against Burnley, he was finding the crosses. This one, the crosses were awful, straight into the keeper's arms, or lacking power, or lacking any sort of quality. So, yeah, really disappointing day from Kudus.
Brennan Johnson, Sim gives him a 2, I gave him a 3. He just offered us absolutely nothing in this game. Literally nothing. Every time he got the ball, he lost it, physically not up to it. What can I say? I don't want to keep going on about it, because it was just so bad.
It was shocking. And we've been disappointed with Brendan before, but in this game he was terrible. It was terrible. He was giving the ball away every time. Didn't even have a chance at goal. I thought he treated the ball like it was a time bomb or something, just getting rid of it as soon as he gets it, blindly as well. Lacked quality when any sort of deliveries. Yeah, just a shocker from Brennan as well when he tried to link up with Spence. No quality as well. And what was he? He was hooked on 50 minutes.
Yeah,
and deservedly so.
Yeah. Richarlison up next, falls all round for Richie. And, in the last couple of games, from the PSG game up until now, he's done such a good job providing a physical challenge, dropping deep, knitting the play together, making the ball stick, bringing other players into play. And I think all of that kind of vanished in this game. And it's I thought in this game it was kind of the Richarlison that we have seen in the past, where the ball just kind of bounces off him. He can't make it stick. Not a real physical presence. And, yeah, just a poor display.
Yeah, I think Senesi bullied him in this one. And it was a weird one because compared to some of his other performances, he's played strong centre-backs and been able to hold his own and hold the ball up really well. This one it didn't happen for him, and he was losing it every time. It was really, but he was quite isolated. But the difference is he was isolated in the other games, but he was able to make it work. And this one he wasn't. But it showed when he's isolated sometimes and he's getting bullied, then all of a sudden it's difficult for him to get involved in the game. That's what happened in this one. I don't remember any shots on goal, or to be fair, we didn't have any shots ourselves as a team. So can't blame Richarlison for that. But it was, a really disappointing display compared to all his really good start to the season.
Now for the subs, Lucas Bergvall, who came on the 50th minute, 6s all round for Lucas. And yeah, look, it was a decent showing from Lucas Bergvall when we needed some guile, someone to take it on the half turn, someone to drive through the centre of the park. And as the game wore on, we started to see those traits from Lucas Bergvall, particularly in the last 15 to 20 minutes. He was the one trying to press the issue. He was the one that was being a bit press resistant and trying to push Bournemouth back a little bit. and he did that. So it's a credit to him.
Yeah, I think he was the one who. Bergvall was the one who tried to make something happen in terms of had that little bit of quality in the middle of the park to turn a Bournemouth midfielder, open up the game a bit and create the space. And it helped us, especially later in the game. He also had our only shot on target with decent opportunity from him. And in hindsight, probably he was the one who probably should have started. He was the one who had that little bit of quality in the middle, which we were definitely lacking.
Wilson Odebear, 5s all round for Wilson. And yeah, look, he was getting he definitely had more of an impact than Brennan Johnson, that's for sure. I was much more happy with Odebear out on the left than what I saw from Brennan, but still, I think it was lacking in quality. He was able to take it past his man a couple of times, and then when the chance does present himself, he completely shit the bed, to be honest, and it smashed it over the bar.
I think he did more he did more than Brennan in the time he was on the pitch than Brennan did. So I think he did okay. Still lacking that little bit of quality in the final third. He did really well to open up the game and commit players. I really like the way he gets the ball on the turn and he's looking to take on his man. That was really promising, but still lacking that bit of quality at the moment. But maybe give it a bit of time. Maybe it'll come.
Matisse Tell, who came on in the last stage of the game, 20 minutes to go, I believe. 5s all round for Matisse. Yeah, I just feel like Matisse, whenever he comes on, he's just like running around like a bit of a headless chicken and not really providing too much for us. I mean, he had a decent effort, and if that goes in, and it's an absolute worldie, and he's probably getting like a 9 out of 10. But look, it goes wide, and apart from that, I don't think he impacted too much.
I think he did some nice things. There was a few moments where he I remember there's one point he takes the ball. He tracks back on the halfway line, tackles his man, gets Spurs forward and plays a really nice ball out wide to Kudus, who obviously failed with a bit of quality to create a chance. But he came on, made himself busy, got on the ball a bit, trying to make things happen. Unfortunately that shot he had went wide. He only had 15 minutes. It wasn't a long time. Played in the number 10 role as well, which is probably not his usual role, but yeah, I think wasn't great, but wasn't a stinker.
And now Thomas Frank, Sim gives him a 3, I gave him a 5, and yeah, I think lineup. I think we can all safely say that it was the wrong decision to go with the same midfield than we went for at Man City. We need a bit more of a creative spark in the middle there, and I think that proved itself when Bergvall came on, because we looked a lot more dangerous in the latter stages of the game when we had a player like Bergvall to really drive through the centre of the park. I thought maybe changes should have come at half time, but look, they came at 50th minute, so I don't have too many of a problem with that. But you really expected at half time that Frank would be able to use his tactical nous to really swing the game in our advantage. And I was thinking at half-time, we're still in this. It's only 1-0, albeit it should be a lot more. We got a manager like Frank who's known for his tactical tweaks and tactical changes to swing games in his team's advantage, but we just never really saw that.
Yeah, I just think he didn't manage the game very well, and I think we didn't really have any sort of period throughout the game which we had an advantage. We looked like we were going to score. We were on top of them. We at the end of the game, when they were sitting back and maybe tired, we kind of put it on them a bit, but it wasn't particularly impressive in my opinion. And I think in these kind of games, you expect a lot more from the team. Expect a few chances. You expect any sort of sustained pressure, and I don't think that's too much to ask. And I think, in general, it was a really, really poor display from Spurs. And I think Frank has to take responsibility for not. I think he just mismanaged the game. He got tactically outclassed. We had a very strong team out there, and he wasn't able to do anything really in the game. So, I think it was a bit of a stinker, to be honest. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So that is our player ratings for the 1-0 loss against Bournemouth. Let us know yours in the comments section below. But I'm sure you guys don't want to remember this game anytime soon. We've got a couple of super chats to bring to you. First of all, John Stitch says, poor yesterday. We've signed some good players in the window, but look at our salaries compared to Woolwich, Man City, United, Liverpool. Can't expect to hit top 4 or 6 unless this changes. Yep, absolutely true. Can't deny it. But we have got a new player that we've just brought in, which is close to 200 grand a week. I think he's on pay parity with Cuti Romero, which is actually quite unbelievable when you think about it. 22 years of age.
Look, but you need when you want to have the quality. It's what you need to do. You need to stump up the money when a player like that is available. So I'm happy we've done it. But yeah, to come in is our joint highest pair at 22. It's something we did with Ndombele, something similar. And it didn't turn out great then.
Well, just watching this game, West Ham 1-0 up at Forest, and Paquetá is about to take a penalty. And he scores.
He scored.
Is he going to kiss the badge? Yep, he kisses the badge. He kisses the badge. Oh, bloody hell. Is that a nod to Xavi Simons saying, I want to play with him? Crazy Rat says, Simons has the word Sim in it. Sim said he needed to get Xavi Simons. And I know Sim has something to do with us signing Simons. I want Xavi to prove it yet. Anyway, Antonis Donica says Miguel Delaney is linking us with Leao. Yeah, look, he can link us with Leao all he wants. I can guarantee you now, Rafael Leao is not coming to Tottenham Hotspur. I can safely say that. But I am just waiting for these. I've been waiting patiently all bloody window. When are these rumours going to come? I've been told that Spurs are going to be going for Rafael Leao, Morgan Rogers, this one, that one. Oh, yeah, by the way, let's talk about that David Ornstein bomber, because if anyone was hoping that Ademola Lookman was coming to Spurs, it looks as though that is not going to be happening, because there's an exclusive from David Ornstein, and he says that Bayern Munich approach Atalanta for Ademola Lookman. Proposal loan, including a sizable fee and option to buy at a significant price. 27-year-old attacker exploring options and remains set on leaving Atalanta amid interest from Bayern Munich plus others. And I'm sure we're probably one of those others. But it looks like Ademola Lookman could be on his way to Bayern Munich.
And I think he was one of the only options we had, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really see... I've just seen rumours of Leao from Miguel Delaney. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I'd be shocked if we tie up a move for Leao right at the end of the window. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So, I wasn't here for that. I really do think Lookman was our only option.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's not looking good, people. It's not looking good. But let's go on to react. Let me just have a look at these Arsenal-Liverpool lineups. They've just been announced. Well, they announced a while ago. Alisson. What is Szoboszlai in defence?
Yeah, he played a right back at St James's.
Szoboszlai, Konate, Van Dijk, Kirkes. Where's Conor Bradley?
On the bench, I think.
McAllister, Gravenberch, Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike. Eze does not start for Arsenal. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubamendi, Rice, Marino, Madueke, Martinelli, Gyökeres. Surprising he's not starting today.
Yeah, I thought he would have started in the middle to replace Odegaard, but...
Odegaard's not there as well.
No, number 10. They've just gone, oh, wow, 3-0 West Ham. What is going on?
Callum Wilson. Bloody hell. West Ham's goals are really like London buses today, aren't they?
They needed this, didn't they? Desperately.
3-0 away at Forest. That's a great result.
Fair play.
Man City still drawing 1-1.
Still drawing 1-1.
9 minutes is added on as well here at Forest, and they've taken off Wood. They've taken off everyone. So let's get in.
It always happens when we have a star man battle off.
Yeah. Let's get on to the reacts and see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. Premier League India says Vicario says no.
That was pretty much the story of our game, except for the time he did say yes in 5 minutes. But yeah, what a brilliant display from him. I thought some of the saves were phenomenal. He was one of his best displays in a while, actually. I thought Vicario was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah, best display since City.
Yeah, I think so.
We were playing K-City last week. I'm joking. You know I'm in the last season. Hotspur Report says, Lucas Bergvall frustrated in the warm-up yesterday. Shouldn't he be starting every game for us? Yeah, well, you look at to the back end, to the second half of last season, how important he was to the team, and everyone was saying he's like the first name on the team sheet at this moment in time.
Well, we got a player and young player of the year last year.
Yeah.
When you see a player do that, is that a good sign or a bad sign? Are you happy that a player is frustrated not playing, like he wants to be on the pitch, or is it a sense of entitlement, do you think?
I think that he deserves to be playing with what he's shown in the Spurs shirt so far. So I don't mind it too much, to be honest. What about you?
Yeah, I like it. I think it shows. I like what the player's disappointed that he's not in the team, because hopefully it means they're gonna have that fire in their belly to get back in the team, and it means a lot to them. City, oh god, Brighton just scored.
Really?
Yeah. But I like it, and I agree with you. It must be frustrating for him because he was flying, wasn't he? Pre-Bodo, just signed a contract, then got that injury, and ever since then, obviously, look, to be fair, he didn't have the best pre-season, did he?
I thought he was growing though.
Yeah.
As every game will.
But to be fair, like Paulinho, obviously he's the experienced one. Bentancur and Sarr have been playing better than him. But there's going to be a lot of games, and I think hopefully it's a matter of time for him before he's back in the team. And last season he was by far our best midfielder. We know that he was fantastic, and I think he will get back in this team. I've got no doubt about it.
Yeah. But look, we predicted what we predicted, but I think in hindsight we can all say he probably should have started yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. We need that little bit of quality.
Between the posts says, wait, what? This is the XG map.
Yeah, this
from the game. That's embarrassing.
I've actually never seen it so low. It's barely there. I can barely see it.
Yeah,
it's barely visible. And theirs is so high as well. It's ridiculous. It's just, I've never seen, look at that. 83% of the time Bournemouth win that game. That's how much we were dominated.
Wow. MCFC Lads says Tottenham have failed to win their next fixture after beating Manchester City for the 9th consecutive occasion. What is it about this club, man? Like, we can go and beat Man City, albeit Man City looks like they're losing consecutive games themselves with at the Amex, they're 2-1 down. But every time we have this like unbelievable performance against Man City, we just go and shit the bed the next game.
Yeah, we always get ahead of ourselves. And I think maybe the team do the same.
Yeah.
And I think they get overexcited about how good we are. They think they can just rock up and beat anyone. And then we play a Bournemouth side who are good in their own right. I don't know, did we underestimate them yesterday?
It seemed that way. It seemed that way on the pitch. But it seems like we underestimate every team after we play Man City. Because if we go beat Man City 4 times out of the last 5 years champions, you're like, all right, we can beat anyone.
Yeah.
You go lose to Burnley, go lose to Bournemouth. It's just the history of the Tottenham, isn't it?
It's a mad quirk. Do you think that's actually true? 9 times in a row we've beaten City and not won the next game? Because I heard yesterday this was a stat taken from a fake Tottenham Tears account, so I don't know how true it is. But maybe it is. I have to look into it.
No context Tottenham. This was Javi Simons watching the game yesterday. He must have been thinking like, can I any returns here? Any returns policy?
God, look at his face. He's puffing his cheeks like, oh God, did I actually make this decision?
But also, to be fair, like he could be looking at it and being like, look, I can make a difference here.
True.
I can make a massive difference here.
Yeah, I think he's definitely looking at it thinking these guys need me.
Yeah, exactly. Football away days. What's this?
I don't know. Did you like this?
I didn't like this. No.
Well, one of us must have done accidentally.
That's Jack Grealish giving his shot into the away end at Everton.
There you go.
Troll Football says new manager, same old Tottenham. It's the history of the Tottenham.
Still with that meme, eh?
Yeah. This is me meeting Sonny Snelling at the game yesterday.
Big up to
Sonny.
Where was this?
Just outside the stadium, just about to walk in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
We walked up the stairs at the same time.
Oh, very nice.
Alfie says, this Johnson Ritchie first half performance. It's like, is it Nkudu and Janssen?
Well, I think that might be harsher than Nkudu and Janssen.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. Well, I don't think you remember Nkudu and Janssen.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right about that.
No context Tottenham. This is just Frank and his coaching staff just looking absolutely bewildered.
Yeah, I think, and understandably so. I think most of us were yesterday.
Spurs Express says Tottenham haven't won their final match before an international break since October of 2023. Another
crazy.
Extraordinary. Why do only these quirks happen with Tottenham Hotspur?
Don't know. It's just so crazy. Like, what is it about the international break that makes us lose? I don't know. It's nuts.
Yeah, but look, that is how the internet did react. A quite nice short reacts for you guys today.
Plettenberg says Lookman, Tottenham approached Lookman. Bayern also pushing open race.
Maybe there is some movement. Can we get him over Bayern?
Beaten Bayern before?
Yeah. Bayern want him, what, to replace Musiala? That's what they want him for.
What's he saying? But he... Oh. He said, Bayern exploring a deal. Bayern have already submitted a loan with an option to buy. Understand Galatasaray and Tottenham also have approached Lookman. Bayern pushing open race. So we're kind of like an add-on to the story, not the main story.
Let's hope there is some movement going on. But yeah, there's got to be some heavy rumours in the next few hours, surely. Surely, if
there'll be a lot of rumours, I think. There's going to be a lot of talk.
Well, Tottenham update will come your way a bit later on today then, if that is the case. But that is all we have today, people. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.